Do you think you can manage not walking into a wall if you cannot see your own gameplay? Not a chance. I would walk into a wall. Like, okay, let's see. I will try to... how do I do this? Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can do this. 320, let's go. Okay, so that's the exit, right? Let's see. If I close my eyes and I try to go to the exit, did I make it? I did it. Okay, I literally just closed my eyes right there. And I was trying to go here. And my ass just ran into the item box. So no, I can't. So this is Abyssoft's video. Abyssoft is the one who went into her chat and asked to see the blindfold unfolded, because when she, on her second playthrough, she brought up the old blindfold from the original blindfold run and tried to shine light through it and was like, see, look, it's not see-through, but it was like really obviously folded up and sewn together. And Abyssoft asked her to unfold it and she timed him out. So that's like, he did all that. He did a lot of work on this too. So I'm curious on what his video is going to say and it's going to be different from Carl's. You ready?
It's like, if you want to see a real investigation, claim that you did something in a video game that didn't actually happen, and you're going to get people that put more work into that than their entire time at college.
Cheating a blindfolded run is one thing, but increasing the proof standard so you can perform the run again, only to double down and cheat a second time, is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. With increased proof standards, you'd think that faking another run would be difficult, but the method used was so obvious, you'll wonder how Queen
That was a good
Lancelot thought she
intro.
could pull it off
That
without
was.
getting caught. Today I'll show you how the investigation into her second run progressed and what our initial theories were before we arrived at the truth.
I should
So
just
let's
go
start with
over
how
here.
we got here. Asmongold would watch Queen's first
Wait, no,
run
now
on
I'm hiding
stream and was quite
Asmon.
impressed with it, as he was currently stuck on Elytron himself. I don't blame Asmongold for being
Thank you,
fooled by
Rico.
this, since he doesn't have experience with blindfolded runs, but looking at her Discord, it was planned to get the video in front of him. Wanting the attention of a big streamer is a double-edged sword, because while it does amplify your viewership, it also gets you in front of experts such as Juicy. And in this case, he uploaded a video
Juicy.
of
I
his
say it
own,
right?
pointing
Right?
out
No,
all
I've
the
been saying Juzzy.
inconsistencies with her
Juicy.
run. Asmongold would watch this as well and suggested that if Queen could do this again, it would clear up everything. Not one to shy away from Asmongold's attention, she created a video announcing February 14th.
Oh, I didn't realize. Wait, did she only do her second run because Asmon told her to? Is that the only reason that she did it? I didn't realize that Asmon like actually told her that she should do a second run to do it. Also, this she made a literal fucking trailer for her second run. Who wants to prove their innocence to be like, yeah, no, this was legit, and makes a trailer to prove their innocence? That drove me nuts. I like that. Yeah, it was just kind of like a little too far in my mind. Like, it was a little unnecessary and not needed to make a fucking trailer to announce that you're doing another run.
The date her next run would be performed, but this time she would obey stricter proof standards. Covers over 2 of her monitors, a hand cam, input display, and a community-approved blindfold would be the measures she implemented to help prove her legitimacy. This time, she was leaving no room for doubt and even double-checked her chat to make sure she wasn't missing anything. In the lead-up to this, a legitimate blindfolded run of Elytron was performed by Kyan, and the huge difference you'll notice is the strats he used. In addition to using lock-on targeting instead of free cam, he chose to use the dual blades instead of a weapon like the greatsword that relies on headshots. For Queen's second run, I fully expected the strategy she used to be actual blindfolded strats so she could claim that she could actually do a blindfolded run, but that's not what happened. In fact, what happened baffled me. Her first few attempts did not go well, and while watching, I got the feeling we weren't going to see a repeat kill and the story was going to end here. But on her 8th try, she survived through an Eschaton judgment and proceeded to kill the boss. My first impression was that the run
Do I say it wrong? I mean, no fucking surprise that me, of all people, would say something wrong. But I've always called it eschaton, not eschaton. I always say eschaton. Fuck me. I don't know. I always pronounce things wrong. I pronounced Juzzy wrong. I pronounced Abyssoft wrong. Is it eschaton or eschaton? I don't know. Ultreon? I don't fucking know. I give up.
Run had to be legit given the proof standards, but once I had the chance to analyze it, I began to realize that it had a ton of problems. In the last video, we established that vertical camera movement with the mouse is never performed while blindfolded because you have no audio cues or other form of feedback.
Wait, did you see the name? Okay, I don't just... I didn't notice this dude's name. Doot Lord of the Hunting Horn. You know, for someone who tweets out about Queen's army gathering together, that's kind of that's an accurate name.
This was a key piece of evidence in her first run that something was amiss, and in this run we see two things. The first is that she's using the Alt button to recenter the camera periodically, as it will have the camera go back to a neutral position. This behavior was entirely absent from the first run, however, and the head tracking was once again present.
Wait, can you do that on PC? You just press Alt and it, because I don't play with mouse and keyboard. Can you do that? You just press Alt and it recenters your camera? So that's like... That's not a bad strategy, right? Like, that's kind of legit, I would assume. No one besmirches my lady. It's like left button on controller. I like never fucking use... Yeah, but I thought that only worked if you were targeted. Shit, I've never done that if I'm not targeted, really. I guess I kind of do. Maybe I do it, like, without thinking. A lot of things I do in Monster Hunter, I've been doing it for so long that I just, like, don't do it. Well, I do it, but I don't realize I'm doing it, kind of thing.
It's safe to say that blindfolded runs of Monster Hunter are tough, and if you're thinking about attempting one, maybe you should try this video's sponsor, Unicorn Overlord, instead. In this clip, we see that not only does she track the dragon's head in the vertical, but she also keeps the head centered on screen as she moves under the boss, which isn't possible as there's no audio feedback for camera adjustments. In another clip, she goes from the front of the dragon to the side and rotates the camera perfectly to keep the head centered in the screen. This isn't behavior that's possible while
see, locking on while not blindfolded messes me up on bosses like Electron.
The attack where the boss swipes doesn't have an audio cue until it's already traveling towards you, but this doesn't stop her from dodging before the cue plays. Not only this, but the attack comes from the opposite direction based on where you're standing relative to a
Okay, I just... when you have to make an announcement in my chat... this is an announcement in my chat that says no nutting, please. You know, fucking accurate. Thank you for not nutting yet.
And the dodge needs to be performed towards it or you'll be hit. But somehow, Queen not only manages to dodge before the audio cue, she also gets the direction right every single time. Even with 3D audio, doing this correctly with a 100% success rate shouldn't be possible, but there's another action she takes that has no audio cues, and that's how she interacts with the ledge. There are small ledges all throughout the arena, and they have a unique interaction when you roll into an attack. If you roll on a flat surface and press attack, it won't cue to start the attack when the roll is completed. This means you need to finish a roll before the game will register an attack input, but ledges break this mechanic. If you roll off a ledge, your roll gets cancelled and you can attack right away, but there aren't any audio cues you're on a ledge, as it's a completely silent piece of geometry. Despite this, she rolls off a ledge and attacks immediately, which doesn't make sense,
I never even thought about that.
If you roll off a ledge, your roll gets cancelled.
She didn't even know she was on a ledge, supposedly, because you're blindfolded, right? And she was managed to do a jump attack, like, perfectly off the ledge.
Right away.
Like, you have to be able to see that you're on a ledge to know that, to do that.
But there aren't any audio cues you're on a ledge, as it's a completely silent piece of geometry. Despite this, she rolls off a ledge and attacks immediately, which doesn't make sense, as an experienced player would know not to press attack this fast after a roll. But if she can see
so it's not even, okay, it's not even the roll thingy that's getting me on this. Like, it's not even the roll thingy that's getting me on this. What's getting me on this is that, like, the fact that she just jumped off and hit the head off the ledge perfectly. How would you know if you're blindfolded to do that attack? Like, that's not something you would just, like, think to do without being able to see that you're on the ledge.
This makes perfect sense. Here's a comparison between a dodge roll into attack where she's on flat ground. You can see how much delay there is in a normal roll attack, but in the attack off the ledge, the delay is only
I'll be honest,
frames,
I didn't even know about the whole different dodge frames based on whether you're on a ledge or not.
Given that the same gameplay oddities were observed again, we were sure that something was going on, but they weren't the only things that stood out.
Yeah, how many times have I done an aerial attack, been like, yay, I'm on a ledge, I'm gonna jump on them and be cool and go bam with my hammer on them, and then I miss.
time, she lost complete control of her character and would press Windows and escape. They aren't on the input tracker, but it's quite obvious when she does, as her thumb moves for the Windows key and her entire hand moves for escape.
Okay. Someone explain this for me. I still don't understand the whole pressing Windows and escape thing. Why does she keep pressing Windows again? Like that, my brain like didn't process that. Like, why would you hit the Windows key? Was it an accident? Because like, I know that she like hit it one time and then her character just stood there at one point. Oh, maybe she was trying to hit Alt to center the camera and she accidentally hit Windows. Oh, okay. So she's trying to hit Alt to center the camera, but she accidentally hits Windows. And then when she hits Windows, she can't do anything, so she can't move. And then she has to hit Escape to get out of Windows. Okay. I don't play on keyboard, so that shit always like, I don't understand that because I just do controller.
These two keys needed to be pressed or why she was losing control of the character, but something was pulling her focus from the game. After she kills the boss is when I proof called her on the original blindfold to have it
Here's what he did. He showed this in the other video. He asked if she can unfold the original blindfold and do a light test on it. That's what he did. He talked about that in his first video.
Folded and light checked again. As I pointed out in my previous video,
yeah, because you can see the light.
And in this run, it had been folded additional times so that it would pass
see
the
how
light
thicker
check.
it is
But
now?
all this proof call earned me was a timeout. On Carl's video, the mod that timed me out commented that I had asked the question 20 times, and for the record, I asked twice and replied to mod comments about the proof call 5 times. A total of 7 chats over 5.5 minutes, but his second comment is worth some scrutiny. Somebody asks if he's saying that the blindfold doesn't unfold, and he triples down by saying that it doesn't. If that's the case, then why not say that on stream instead of...
Well, also, okay, wait, so if he just said, the mod replied saying the blindfold doesn't unfold, which just proves that she folded it up for this like proof of light transparency, because it quite obviously, if you look... Yeah. Thank you for the gifted sub to Abyssoft. Thank you. If you look here, it like quite obviously, like, okay, let's look at that.
And light checked again. As I pointed out in my previous
it's quite
video,
obviously
I knew it was
unfolds here.
and in
That's
this run,
unfolded.
it had been folded additional times so that it would pass the light check. But all this proof call earned me was a timeout.
She folded it
on
to
Carl's video, the mod that timed me out
pass the light
commented that I'd
check. She
asked the
purposely
question
folded
20
it.
times, and for the record, I asked twice and replied to mod comments about the proof call 5 times. A total of 7 chats over 5.5 minutes, but his second comment is worth some
So
scrutiny.
right here, he says
Somebody
it
asks
doesn't
if he's
unfold
saying
at
that
all.
The blindfold doesn't unfold, and he triples down.
So like, regardless of like this proving that like, you know, well, because like Abby's like, you could have just said that in Twitch chat, but this also shows that she purposely folded it for the light check.
By saying that it doesn't. If that's the case, then why not say that on stream instead of saying that the material isn't transparent and refusing the proof call? This even contradicts the mod's own statements in the stream because they said the blindfold was folded in the original run,
Which
but
it wasn't.
Being folded implies it can be unfolded, so which is it? I think that's all the analysis we need of the first blindfold since we know it was transparent and had obviously been tampered with when the check was performed in the second stream, and I think we can all agree that this idea to triple down on it is insane. Given that the run had many of the same issues as the first and had new problems to look into, I knew that this investigation would require a team as competent as Sherlock Holmes and John Watson, so I called in a friend.
They really
Carl and I
fucking
tackled
did.
the investigation
Oh, look
together,
at
along with
that
some Monster
image.
Hunter
That's so
and
good.
blindfold speedrun experts.
That's
When we
perfect.
began, we asked ourselves if it could be legit and decided that given the head tracking and dodging attacks before the sound cues, that it most certainly wasn't. Which
Dude,
left the
I was
question,
I was
how
in
was it
there
done?
one time. I paused this right when it turned black. That freaked me out. I was in there and I was lurking, and like they would time out anyone who asked anything. Like I watched someone go in and they just asked a legitimate question. They were like, so you're doubling down and you are like for sure that your run was real. Like they were really nice about it. They weren't like mean about it. They weren't being judgmental. They weren't like doing any accusations. They just asked a legitimate question. Was your first run real? And they didn't answer, and then they banned the person. They didn't even get a timeout. They got a flat out ban because I have 7 TVs, so I can see banned messages. Like they just kept banning anyone who asked, even if so it wasn't asked multiple times. It was their first message, because you know when someone types in chat and it's their first time typing in that chat and it has the first message like highlight and tag on it. It was their first message, and they just they banned them. They didn't answer and just banned. That's it. Yeah, first time chatter. Hi, Gage. Dog wants to be a part of the react too.
Common theory I saw commented was that she was playing over a pre-recorded video. This has been done before, as Lee SDA did this with a Yoshi's Island run, and Mechar did this at GDQ of all places with a Metal Gear Rising run. But this isn't a good method of cheating, and we could rule it out instantly. Since she was using an input display and hand cam, we could see that the inputs observed matched what was happening on screen, so playing over a pre-recorded run was easily ruled out. Another theory we thought might be possible was that someone else was playing off-screen, but we crossed this out for the same reasons. The observed inputs matched the gameplay, so an off-screen player wasn't how this was done either. With two easy-to-perform methods of cheating out the window, we started thinking up more complex and esoteric explanations. Carl suggested that she could be using an aimbot or aim assist, and I thought that someone else might be playing through remote assistant.
Oh, remote assistant! I didn't even think about that.
Vertical camera movement, which we know is impossible while blindfolded, so we started testing these theories. For Aimbot, there wasn't anything we could do at the moment, so Carl got in touch with a modder for Monster Hunter that had created one. The way it works is by hooking into the game's memory. From there, you can tell it what object you want it to look at. In this case, it's the different bones that make up the dragon's rig.
Holy
it's
shit,
turned on and off
that's
from the press of a
complicated.
button, so you can activate it as needed to quickly line up a shot, then turn it off before anyone suspects anything. But it's
I'm still baffled that there's fucking aimbot for Monster Hunter.
It overrides your inputs and makes a beeline for whatever it's targeting. Another reason aimbot was suggested was because at certain times when her mouse was moving in one direction, we noticed that the input tracker would freak out and register inputs across multiple axes. And we had no way of explaining this other than an external force acting on the mouse.
There's an actual aimbot mod for Monster Hunter. It's ridiculous.
She was able to track the head while blindfolded. But while Carl was investigating it, I was looking into Remote Assistant. Remote Assistance is a feature for Windows that allows someone else to control your PC at the same time as you, giving them access to your mouse and keyboard. I thought this was a plausible theory because it would explain the head tracking and glitchy mouse inputs, as I theorized the person using it would only try to move the camera while she was moving it. So what happened when we tested it? It wasn't a perfect test due to an ocean being between me and Juicy, but even with the giant amount of lag, we found that the input tracker perfectly tracked everything I tried to do, but it also had an additional problem. The second I made an adjustment, Juicy lost all ability to play the game competently. It was a constant battle for control that didn't end well, and doing it blindfolded would have made it impossible.
I fucking love that they work together so hard for this.
And part of the reason we decided to go down this route was because of the Windows and escape key presses. Multiple times in the attempt, she lost control of her character and remained stationary despite the tracker registering inputs, with control only being restored after pressing Windows and escape. We theorized this was due to software she was using to help track the head, either Aimbot pulling her out of the game or the person on remote assistance doing something that caused the game to lose focus. But it turns out, this was only a red herring. If you look earlier in the stream, she pressed Windows to fix her eye tracker, and during the run, the eye tracker was also the reason she had to press Windows and escape. That's right. A random tech issue put us down a rabbit hole.
Why does she even have eye tracker? I don't know why she has it. We knew for certain
that it wasn't remote assistance at this point, which left Aimbot as the best theory since it explained the head tracking and glitchy mouse inputs on the tracker. But one thing we learned about the input display by using it ourselves is that it doesn't work well with Monster Hunter, and the glitchy inputs happen when you use it normally with the game. This left us at sea without a rudder, as every theory we had
so they were trying to say something was wrong with the glitchy inputs, but they think that's just something that happens when you use input tracker with Monster Hunter, so understandable.
Out. But while on a call with some Monster Hunter experts, they kept repeating to me that everything they saw made sense if she could see. Aimbot explained the head tracking, but not the dodges or the ledge attack, and the players kept reiterating that she must be able to see, so I wrote the theory out. Luckily for us,
she can see out of the blindfold somehow, and there's a monitor in the line of sight she can see out of. That's a simple theory, the easiest to do by far. Wait, I thought...
Yeah.
Rico, thank you for the gifted sub. I thought Carl thought of the third monitor while he was like laying awake at night. Thank you, Rico. Thank you.
Blindfold speedrun expert Bubsia replied that it's easy to see out the bottom of a blindfold and to do so undetected.
No, don't do that. I'm reading. It's extremely easy with any blindfold to put a phone on your chair, for example, that has gameplay showing. You can usually see downwards through blindfold where the nose is. Like, really, it's very easy to make a blindfold see-through in the bottom, which makes it always hard to verify.
Out the bottom of a blindfold and to do so undetected. He even created a video demonstrating how much of a field of view he had if he wore the blindfold so that the bottom had a small gap. And he could even see part of the monitor on his desk, so having a screen off camera that you can see is entirely possible. While
this is fucking nuts that it turns out there's a third monitor.
She looked at her keyboard before pressing the escape button. If she could see
you know what? I'm surprised that, like, okay, how many streamers out there put up their, like, pictures of their setups? I have a picture of my setup. How many streamers are like, hi guys, here's my stream setup, here's a picture? Like, I feel like almost all of us have. Not all, but I mean a good portion of it. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't. I mean, maybe they did and they just didn't find anything. But I'm kind of surprised that if they didn't do this, that they didn't like go and try to find like a stream setup pic. Like, they were in her Discord. She could have posted it on Discord. They could have looked at Twitter. I don't think she posts a lot on Twitter, but like I will be shocked if she doesn't have a stream set up somewhere, because most of us do.
As your field of view would be smaller, so you need to do pronounced head movements to see.
You might have added a monitor after specifically. That'd be fucking intense.
Someone can see out the bottom of the blindfold if they are sitting with their head held high. So I compared her posture from the first run to this one, and it's a very pronounced change. In the last video, her head is angled down at the monitor.
Yeah, she's in gamer hunch
position,
position,
which we know she can see since the blindfold
which
is
I am. She's shrimping.
But in this video, her head is angled up very high.
Okay, so here's the key: if you want to be a streamer with actually good posture and you don't want to shrimp all the time, you just have to wear a blindfold that forces you to look upwards. So then you will always sit up straight.
Midnight when I started connecting the dots, so I went to bed. But while I was asleep, Carl the Absolute Legend would find the evidence we needed because there was a third monitor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Prove it. How do you prove the
Abyssoft was
existence of something you
asleep.
can't see? Thankfully, we have two major pieces of evidence that prove without a doubt.
Man, Abyssoft actually slept. Man, how rude. Fucking Carl stayed up laying awake all night, and Abby's like, I'm going to bed. You do the work.
In this clip, the screen covers are lowered, but she decides there's something super important she has to do. If you look at the input display, she left clicks for almost 10 seconds. We had no idea what she was doing when we first watched this, but Carl figured it out. The only reason you'd perform a long click is if you're grabbing a window to drag it, and if you look at her mouse hand, you see that it doesn't move to the left where the other monitor is. It moves to the right, indicating another monitor off screen. But what is she dragging? If you go back a bit earlier, you see that she has OBS on the gameplay monitor and it has a chat window docked to the right side of it. And since the left monitor is covered, the OBS window is the only spot she can read chat from.
That's crazy that she actually like thought about that much to do that, though.
Is gone, meaning OBS with chat is what she dragged to the right.
She literally had to sit there and think about like, I'm gonna hide the fact that I have a third monitor and pretend to drag OBS to my left monitor.
The only reason you do this is because you want to see what people are saying, and there's no way she'd make the mistake of reading chat with her monitors covered, right?
This is funny.
Oh yeah. Everything will be unedited.
With both monitors covered and while looking to the right, she responds to a message in chat. And after this, she pretends to have read it from the left monitor,
her doing this like really fucked her over. If she hadn't put chat on her third monitor, this never would have happened because she wouldn't have accidentally read chat.
Monitor, then stops and lets out a giant sigh. She then makes a point of going to the left monitor and reading the message out loud, but we now know the message was read from an off-screen monitor. If this isn't convincing enough, look at what happens after the kill. Even with the covers removed, she looks to the hidden right monitor when she gets a gift sub alert. It's like she's forgot she just faked a run and doesn't even try to hide the fact that
she's always looking at an angle.
At one point and acknowledges it while looking at the right screen that doesn't exist before replying to more messages from the monitor that clearly isn't there. In the chat, a viewer even points out her posture, and a mod immediately covers for her by saying they do posture check.
Wait, where? Oh, you play games with a really fixed posture. I envy you. We trained her every time. We trained her. Fuck you guys. If you ever say you trained me. Kiss my ass. You trained nothing.
checks all the time. This might be true, but then why is this the only video where she's sitting straight up with her head cranked in the air?
Get
She
trained?
goes on to
Fuck
claim
you,
that
I
both
trained
runs are
you.
real, and that since Asmongold wanted another run, that's what he gets.
But Asmongold wanted another run.
Oh.
He said, I hope she comes back. I hope she does it again.
That answers
And says
that, whether I asked
did
if she
do it
did
the
this 'cause
first
of
time, now
Asmon.
Here's me doing it again. And that's exactly what we did.
And it's hard to believe that this anime art
Yeah, okay,
all
here you guys
started
go.
from
You
a
want to
clout
train
chase
me?
for
I'll teach you guys how to train me. You want me to sit up straight, right? Somehow you'll have to magically guess through my VTuber model that I'm shrimping. But what you do is when I'm not shrimping, you use positive reinforcement like my dog, all right? If I am sitting properly, you must throw biddies at me to reward me for my perfect posture. Positive reinforcement, okay? I'll let you guys know every time. Be like, hey guys, I'm sitting correctly. I have good posture right now. And that's when you use positive reinforcement and throw biddies at me, and I will forever be trained to sit up correctly. It sounds legit, right?
someone else's attention. To recap the evidence, while blindfolded, it's very easy to see out the bottom, and keeping your head tilted up would let you play off of a hidden monitor. In this attempt, she is angled to the right where the hidden monitor is and holds her head incredibly high compared to the last run where her head is angled down towards the gameplay
Wow,
monitor.
good posture,
There is a
huh?
hidden
Thank you for rewarding my amazing posture, Reiko. I will now sit upright for 10 minutes because I am being rewarded for my great posture.
screen to the right, which can be verified as she moves OBS to this monitor, which is confirmed by the input viewer and hand cam, and even reach chat from it while looking right with both monitors covered.
That's what
as
I kept
well as
saying,
reading
is you
from
can
it
even
after the
see
run
that she's
itself.
like looking to
This
the
makes
right.
for an open and shut case, as it's obvious a third monitor is involved, and that's what she's playing off of, as it explains the head tracking and dodging perfectly. But the story doesn't end here. She uploaded a video of the second run and responds to some of the claims Juicy made in his analysis video that started this entire arc, and one of the first things she disputes is how she dodged without audio cues. She only mentions the double head swipe, however, which does have an audio cue where Elytrion taps his feet before doing the attack. This wasn't mentioned
does
in my
he?
video, however, as I focused on the claw swipes.
I didn't know
and she
all that's kind of
conveniently
cute
left
that he
out how
taps
she
his
dodged
feet
that
before he
attack
swipes.
before the
That's kind of
audio cue.
adorable.
And what she says next is incredible.
Then, because it's silent, I don't see it charging up, and even as a master of this hunt, I still get hit by it. Or is it that I'm just acting?
I think we know the answer to that now, but to address the point, it wouldn't make sense to dodge everything in a fake blindfolded run. Otherwise, people with no knowledge of how they work, like Asmongold, might have picked up on it right away. She even addresses the vertical camera movement.
Another main criticism of my blindfolded run is the fact that I adjust my camera to fight the
master.
monster without using lock-on. This is just how I fight it, all the time.
I hated this
Every time.
scripted like
Just because I
defense.
put a blindfold on doesn't mean that that changes.
What's funny about this is she offers no explanation as to how she knows exactly how much to adjust the camera in the vertical, so I guess we'll just have to settle for the "trust me bro." It's hard to believe that this was all started from someone trying to get a streamer's attention, and Asmongold, if you're watching, I did put more effort into this video than I did at college. Thanks for watching, and stay
Wait,
tuned for the next exciting episode
I
of
put more effort into this video than I did in college. That was good. I am so proud of everyone. Like, I shouldn't be proud, right, of having to call out someone for faking something, but it's like so admirable, to be honest, how much work they put into this. Like, they all worked together. They did research. They laid awake at night making sure that they got this. Like, they worked so hard for this, and it's really admirable. It really is. I gotta give them credit for it. They deserve so much praise. Go follow Carl, Juicy, Abyssoft, follow them all.